Legacy is about what we do with the time we have on this earth, the dash between the dates on our headstones. You've heard the saying, you only live once. You know, YOLO. The truth is, you only die once. You live every day. Legacy is about how we use our days. It's about how we'll be remembered, the impact and the imprint we make on the world. Africa. This is where my whole world changed. After 2 weeks working with children, teachers, and headmasters in Tanzania, I abandoned my childhood dream of being a lawyer and a very fruitful legal career. Lots of a generous salary, reasonable benefits, and I decided to reinvent myself. In Africa, I decided to pursue purpose over ambition, to transition from making a living to making a legacy. I was 8 years old when I decided I wanted to be a lawyer. Not a typical career choice for a poor child on welfare in the projects. Add to that a mentally ill mother and a drug-addicted father. My dream was improbable by every measure. But despite my circumstances, I dreamed big, I worked hard, I prayed a lot, and with the help of a grandmother who raised me and lots of mamas and mentors, I achieved my goal. Yes, in 2004, I graduated from law school, passed the bar exam, and was recruited to a national law firm. Sounds like success, right? And it was, by every measure, except the one that mattered the most, purpose. When I got back from Africa in late 2007, I couldn't focus. My career work, my community work left me unfulfilled. I began to dream about a different path, one where, like the African headmasters, I could make my passion my profession. I could do good and do well. I know I'm not the only one. Today, HR experts are navigating a mid-pandemic workforce crisis known as the Great Resignation. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as of May of this year, 1.8 million of the 5 million women who were released from their job last year in 2020 didn't return to work. Over 4 million people between the ages of 30 and 45, the mid-career employees that we all know so much about, have left the workforce. And here's the kicker, the trend is rising. According to a Gallup survey, 55% of the workforce, that's more than 1 in 2, will leave their job in the next year. Lifestyle and legacy are guiding this trend. I know, because 14 years ago, I made the same journey. The devastation of 2020 has caused people to really think about how they spend their days and deeply consider how they will spend their remaining days. People are putting themselves first. They're facing their fear. They're deciding and focusing on what's most important. When I left the law firm at 28, I had to do a couple of things. And I want to tell you that journey because as a legacy lover who's been on this for a while, I know it pretty well. When I first left the law firm, I've been on this journey for 14 years, and when I first left the law firm, I began the legacy journey, and here's what it looked like. I went to Miami University, my alma mater, and started the first pre-law program where I helped thousands of students make the transition to law school. Legacy. 5 years later, I decided to expand my impact and run for, and I won a seat on Cincinnati City Council. Thank you. Where for 6 years I led initiatives combating human trafficking, child poverty, and homelessness. Legacy. Yes, in 2017, I made history as the first Black woman to win a mayoral primary in Cincinnati. Legacy. Thank you. Today, I serve as the CEO of a national PAC, its first female CEO, where I get to help people change their communities and change our country for the better. And earlier, I also serve as a national correspondent for ABC News. And earlier this year, I had the pleasure, in my pearls and chucks, of covering the inauguration of America's first Black and Asian female vice president. Legacy. Thank you. So I didn't want to keep this knowledge to myself, so I thought I'd share with you all the 3 key steps that were pivotal for me in transitioning from making a living to making a legacy. Number 1, revisit your 8-year-old self. Where is she? There she is. Hey, girl. So when I left the law firm at 28, I decided to go back and talk to Yvette about what our original motivation was for deciding to be a lawyer. And whether you were 8, 18, 28, or 48 when you decided what you wanted to be, going back to that place, questioning, challenging that original motivation is key to the process. So when I went back and talked to little Yvette, she shared with me that our motivation for being a lawyer wasn't at all about money, success, or prestige. She saw injustice around her. She felt a sense of helplessness and hopelessness. She wanted to own her power and use her gifts and talents to change her future and change the worlds of the people around her. I visit little Yvette often because by understanding that, I was able to really understand what that looks like now, what that might look like later in life. And when I go visit her, she serves as a compass for me, bringing me back always to my why. Just a word of caution, though. If you're going to talk to your younger self in public, be careful for unwanted attention. I know, I've experienced it, so be careful about that. Number 2, legacy is a long game. It takes a lot of courage to leave the thing that you've done for so long. And for women especially, our jobs, our title, our position can become our identity. It's not glamorous. I took a 50% pay cut when I left my law firm to pursue my legacy, and I switched jobs many times. This is not a quick fix, and it's not an easy path. And what I tell people all the time who want to get in this journey, and if any of you want to go on the legacy journey, my advice is to get in, buckle up, get ready for a roller coaster ride. And if you're like me, you got your hands up and your mouth open and you're screaming with joy all the way. Third, look for open windows. This legacy work is tough, y'all. You all know that when you encounter things and you feel like you're doing a great thing and then all of a sudden this door slams in your face. It happens on this journey. It happened to me. In May in 2017, after I lost the mayor's race, I was devastated. I had gone all in. I gave it everything I had. I didn't have a backup plan. But Plato says that necessity is the mother of invention. And so I had to pick myself up. I had to revisit my purpose again. I had to rewrite the plan. The one thing that I said I'd never do, watch that word never, was to start my own business. Because as a young child that was poor, I just believed that you needed a W-2 and benefits to feel safe and secure. But after every W-2 door I pursued closed, I had to stretch beyond my comfort zone. I had to do something different. I had to believe in myself and take a real chance on me. But here's the kicker, y'all. Whew. The kicker is that, and it's for so many of us, this gets us, I couldn't see beyond my circumstances because I was still staring at this closed door. This door that said, you were supposed to be mayor, now what? You're a lawyer, you're a professor, insert profession here. And when I stopped staring at that closed door, I turned around and I saw a big open window on the other side of the room. And so many of us can't see the open window because we're still staring at the closed door. had to see myself differently, more broadly. And when I did that, I was able to dream beyond my circumstances and even beyond my wildest dreams. So you can imagine, I found myself about a year after leaving public service on a cold Sunday in February, seated at a round table, one not unlike this one. One more. Cold Sunday in February, I found myself seated at a round table. And George Stephanopoulos looked at me and he said, "Hey, Yvette, welcome to the table. Glad you're here." And I smiled because it's George Stephanopoulos. And I said, "Thanks, George. Glad to be here." I didn't realize it, y'all, until that moment. But every step in my legacy journey, the successes, the failures, the wins, the heartbreaks, had prepared me for that moment, and I was ready. I can still hear the laughter of Tanzanian children, the sound of harmonies outside my window 15 years later. I went there to teach them, but they taught me so much more. Because of them, I wake up every day and I do a job that brings me joy, that makes a difference, that is consistent with my North Star, my reason for being, my why, a legacy born right there in Africa, to change the world for people in small and large ways. And so I have a question for everyone here today. What is your legacy? What is your legacy? Thank you.